You have something important to do. Not optional, not small. Something that actually matters. You've been thinking about it all day. You even told yourself, tonight I'll finally do it. But then, you don't. You open your phone, watch something random, clean your room, rearrange things that don't need rearranging. And the whole time, there's this quiet voice in your head saying, you should be doing that thing. But you don't move. And here's the part that really messes with you. It's not that you don't care. You care too much. So why does it feel like something inside you is stopping you? Imagine this. It's late at night. Your room is quiet. You're sitting in front of your laptop. The task is right there. Maybe it's an assignment, a presentation, a message you need to send, a decision you've been avoiding. You look at it, you know exactly what needs to be done, and then you don't start. Instead, you tell yourself, I'll just watch one video and then begin. But one turns into five. Five turns into an hour. And now there's this strange mix of guilt and exhaustion. You feel heavy, but you still don't start. So you go to sleep with that same thought, I'll do it tomorrow. But tomorrow feels exactly the same. If you've ever been stuck in that loop, this isn't random, and it's definitely not laziness. Here's what most people get wrong. They think procrastination is a time problem or a discipline problem. It's not. It's an emotional problem. Your brain isn't avoiding the task. It's avoiding how the task makes you feel. And that changes everything. Pause for a second and think about the thing you've been delaying. Not the surface-level reason, the real one. What does starting that task actually make you feel? Is it pressure? Fear of doing it wrong? Fear that it won't be good enough? Or maybe something deeper, like the quiet thought that if you fail, it says something about who you are. Your brain is wired to protect you, not from deadlines, from discomfort. So when a task feels emotionally heavy, your brain does something very smart. It redirects you towards something easier, something lighter, something that gives quick relief. Scrolling, watching, distracting. Because in that moment, relief feels better than progress, even if it costs you later. This is why you can spend hours doing small, pointless things instead of the one thing that actually matters. Because small things feel safe. There's no judgment in scrolling, no risk in watching, no possibility of failure in avoiding. But the moment you start something important, you step into uncertainty, and your brain doesn't like uncertainty. Let me tell you something subtle that most people never notice. The bigger the task means to you, the harder it is to start. Because it's not just a task anymore. It becomes a reflection of you. If it goes well, you feel worthy. If it doesn't, it feels personal. So instead of risking that, your brain chooses delay. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much. Think about this. You don't procrastinate on things you don't care about. You don't delay brushing your teeth. You don't overthink opening a random app. But the things that matter, those are the ones that feel heavy, because they carry meaning, expectation, identity. And here's where it gets even more complicated. Procrastination doesn't just delay the task. It creates a cycle. You avoid, you feel relief, then guilt creeps in, then pressure builds. Then the task feels even heavier, so you avoid again. And every time this loop repeats, it becomes stronger. Not because you're weak, but because your brain is learning a pattern. Avoidance equals temporary safety. Pause again. Think about how many times you've told yourself, I'll start tomorrow. And how many times tomorrow turned into the same story. At some point, it stops being about the task and starts becoming about how you see yourself. I'm someone who can't follow through. I'm always behind. I never do things on time. And that belief is far more damaging than the procrastination itself. But here's the twist. The problem was never that you couldn't do the task. The problem is that you were trying to fight an emotional response with logic and discipline. And that rarely works. You can't force your way through something that your brain perceives as a threat. You have to understand it first. Real life example. Someone wants to start working out. They plan everything, set goals, watch videos, but when it's time to actually begin, they don't. Not because they don't want to be fit, but because stepping into that environment makes them feel exposed. What if people judge? What if they don't know what they're doing? So instead, they delay. Another example, someone needs to send an important message. They draft it, delete it, rewrite it. Hours pass, because deep down, they're not afraid of typing. They're afraid of the response. So what does this mean for you? It means you don't need more motivation. You don't need to try harder. You need to get honest. Honest about what you're actually avoiding. The next time you catch yourself procrastinating, don't ask, "Why am I so lazy?" Ask something different. What am I feeling right now that I don't want to feel? Because that's where the answer is. Maybe it's fear of failing. Maybe it's fear of being seen. Maybe it's the pressure of expectations you never chose. Whatever it is, naming it takes away some of its power. And here's something important. You don't have to eliminate procrastination completely. That's not realistic. The goal isn't to become someone who never avoids discomfort. The goal is to become someone who understands why they do. Because awareness changes your relationship with it. Instead of fighting yourself, you start working with yourself. Instead of forcing action, you reduce resistance. And sometimes, starting becomes easier, not because the task changed, but because you did. So if you've been stuck in this loop, feeling like you're wasting time, falling behind, disappointed in yourself, I want you to hear this clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. You didn't fail at discipline. You adapted to discomfort, quietly, repeatedly, without realizing it. The only question now is this pattern still protecting you, or is it holding you back? Because the moment you see it for what it really is, it stops controlling you in the same way. And that's where things begin to change. If you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.